Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/Malicious Compliance. In today's episode, don't care about people calling me on your old number? I'll sort it. Want me to CC you on every single email? Fine. If you want to change companies, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Don't care about people calling me on your old number? I'll sort it. This was about 10 years ago. Also, English is my second language and I'm writing this on my phone. I had just moved to Australia and gotten a new phone, but as it turns out my number was someone else's old number. Every other week I'd get calls by a trotty who wanted to know why I wasn't on site, mate, or what I wanted done with building project ABC. Every time I explained at length that they got the wrong number, and quite often folks on the other end were absolute rude or thought I was taking the piss and insist I answered their questions or show up on site. Now, I was over it, so I googled my own number and did some digging and eventually found out the guy who had my number before, then his new number, and then I called him. I politely explained my dilemma, pointed out that there were two websites still having his old, my now new, number, and if he could please change this and let his contacts know about his new number and to delete the old one as it was getting quite tedious for me. By that time I had used my number for work, visa applications and landlords and friends, and changing it would have been a huge pain. I explained all of that. Well, of course he was just as pleasant as most of his contacts and told me something along the lines of, "I don't care, mate, that's not my problem. Sort your own shot out, mate." Well, the universe provides, and so I got a great opportunity to do just that only a few weeks later. I received a call in the early hours of one morning by another disgruntled guy telling me he was early and demanding to know where I wanted the sand put down and how to get in. I asked what sand and was told he had a full truckload of sand as ordered and no one was on site and it was all fenced off. Very briefly did I think about launching into my explanation, but I was tired and over it and then realized the opportunity provided. I snapped back at him with no uncertainty, "Mate, it's all good, dump it all right in the driveway, front of the fence, we'll sort it out when we get there." The guy said, "You sure, mate? It's a lot of sand." Me, "Absolutely sure, mate, thanks a lot." Him, "All right then, boss," and hangs up. Well, I go back to bed, snoozing for another hour with a big smile until my phone rings again and I see it's old mate with his new number who I had saved when I called him a few weeks ago. I pick up rather chipper and he doesn't waste any time launching into a series of swear words and how he has no access to the site and that he has to move a literal ton of sand by hand and whether or not I told the sand guy to dump it all there. I replied, "You told me to sort this out myself, this is me sorting this out. You can remove the numbers and let your contacts know or not. Totally up to you, mate." He was fuming, called me a few more choice words, promising to find me and a lot more before we ended the conversation. However, the numbers disappeared from the internet really quickly after that and I never got another call again. I still have my number and every time I see a truck with sand I chuckle to myself thinking of this guy moving a ton of sand by hand and losing a fair few hours of labor because he was a douchebag and couldn't be bothered sending a few texts. Want me to CC you on every single email? Fine. I'm working with a manager from another team for a while, and he is way more micromanaging than my actual manager. He asked me to send him a status update every day, on projects where turnaround time is 2 to 3 days for change, and CC him on every email I send related to the project. The sing thing really irked me for some reason, but I didn't want to argue or make a scene. So, I started what turned out to be a 2-week campaign. I CC'd him on every email I sent. Routine hardware swap? CC'd. 10 requests for 10 people in 10 emails asking for access to a lab? CC'd. But also, important status updates? CC'd. Emails requiring action on his end? CC'd. he couldn't even filter me out. I didn't tag him in the email body or anything helpful, making it difficult to decipher when his help was required. Over the course of 2 weeks, he missed 2 emails that required him to do something, causing other people to be annoyed with him. Eventually, he relented and told me to use my judgment when CCing him. Honestly, I'm surprised he hasn't hit this issue before since he manages like 7 other projects. But all's well that ends well. I fought the power and got my email autonomy back. If you want to change companies, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. I work at a small company delivering potable water to people who don't have access to either city water or a private well. So we deliver to the same customers pretty much every week. Some customers are great and go out of their way to make deliveries easier or at least make sure that they don't make them any more difficult than they have to be. A few customers just don't give a sh*t and expect us to make deliveries no matter what they do to make things inconvenient. Recently, one customer over the last couple of years had made several changes to their property that made making deliveries significantly more difficult. I'd spoken to my boss about them and he laid out the conditions that would need to be met before he would consider dropping a paying customer. And they were literally just barely with the limits. And to their credit, they did keep up with their bills, damn it. I dreaded seeing their name on the delivery list every other week, then they changed to wanting deliveries every week because their children were moving into the house as well. After that, payments started being more sporadic. The checks we were getting changed names from the homeowner to their daughter. My boss only takes cash or check, not credit cards, as he feels no compulsion to give any money to CC companies or to increase prices and pass the cost on to the customer. One day while I was in the office doing some end-of-day tasks, the phone rang. Caller ID was this problem customer. Boss answered and I eavesdropped. It was the daughter. She wanted to start paying by credit card. Boss said no. Then she decided to drop her threat to change companies. Such hope in my heart as I saw the boss face turn red. He hates bullies and being bullied. Boss immediately agrees that would be best and hangs up on her. Walks over to the delivery schedule calendar and crosses their name off of the list. 2 days later, I got called into the office to hear a message left by the daughter begging us to make deliveries again. She apologized and everything. Turns out she had discovered that we were by far the cheapest option for them. One of the things that made them frustrating to deliver to was not just the physical difficulty of the delivery, but they only have a 350 gallons holding tank. It was a lot of work and time to deliver such a small amount of water. And we have the lowest minimum delivery rate in town. While all the companies around town are at about the same price/gallon, most other companies have a 800-gallon minimum delivery rate, while our minimum at the time was only 500 gallons. The boss and I shared a chuckle over the call. I don't believe he bothered with calling her back. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.